think we're ready to dive into the quoting. I know last time we did this, we dove into like all the marketing material and where the documentation was, and then how to create a support ticket under the support tab. So we'll kind of skip that stuff for today and just go to the new quotes. So whenever you're on your home page, you're going to hit new quote. It's going to skip this, I believe, and just take you to a new quote page. At this point, you can assign it to a dealer. So if you had somebody there that you were creating a quote for or something like that, you could associate that to their account. You can title the quote over here. The reference number is going to be for their own records. So this could be used for search criteria in the search bar, or you can just leave that blank. So you can put a reference in there. Now, installation and this is the order number shows up. I went to show you the order number and it isn't even there. So this quote ID 50857 that we see in the URL right here would typically display right here before active quote. I'm not sure why it's not. We'll give the page a refresh. There we go. So that's the order number. So that's how that can be referenced with our accounting department. With me, if you've got a question on a quote, if a dealer needs you to look into something, that's the quote number. And you saw me refresh whenever that wasn't acting right. So that's going to be a common theme. If the portal is ever kind of being buggy on you or anything like that, the refresh is going to be your best friend. Now, whenever we refresh, it's going to automatically lock the quote. So I can't even edit anything at this point. If we needed to make adjustments, we would go to edit quote, unlock and edit. Now at this point, we would be able to change our title, add our addresses, and so forth. Now, installation and shipping address get added independently of each other. Installation address is pretty important. This is going to be how the motors are programmed for their internal clock. So based off of this zip code, that's how it's going to know when sunrise, sunset, and all the various different things like that are. So whenever they are going into the dashboard to set scenes and schedules for shades to come up at sunrise and go down at sunset, that's how it knows when that is. The property name is how that property is titled in the dashboard as well. So if they're looking for the Smith residence to set automations, they would find Smith residence in the dashboard or whatever they titled there. Addresses can be searched for in the future. So, you for Davis or a specific dealer, they'll be able to search through their existing addresses that they've used. Now, shipping address is the same. Input these independent of each other. Each shipping address can be added per job. So these can be drop shipped to the job. They can be sent to you guys at Davis if you can receive a pallet better for the dealer or something like that. Every time they are going to choose whether it is a residential address or if they need a lift gate in case it's coming freight, whether the truck needs a lift gate on it. Now we have some different settings and things that we can do with the quote. We can combine a fascia. We can go to quote settings. We can duplicate the quote. We can export it to Excel. That enables us to look it over with a fine-tooth comb. We can generate a PDF that can be used for quoting. So, this prints a customer copy that would break down the shades in line items and list MSRP and also include pre-installation instructions the dealer can go over with the homeowner and have them sign off on. And it also includes the warranty terms and conditions. So you can exclude the warranty there. You can click adjustment and change this description, and it's actually going to add a line item right here for you. So they can add labor or whatever they want to put there by adding an amount there, and then just simply download, print, email over to the client. Now they can generate a dealer copy of this to save for their own records. It's going to generate a column that has their pricing and then a column that has the customer pricing. And I have seen that copy emailed over to homeowners before, so they got to be careful. Now we'll come down here to shades and accessories. This is how you add stuff to the order form. So we have indoor shades, we have outdoor shades, we have individual accessories. So this is where a hardware kit is found, for a new dealer, one of their purchase requirements. And then our new fabric book that's available, our handheld flash fabric book, you can find it in here as well. So you can also find remotes, our gateways, repeaters, wind sensors, all, power supplies, all that type of stuff is here in the accessory list. Now there's also samples. Now these are going to be indoor or outdoor fabric samples. So these are going to be larger 8x10 samples of the fabric that can be sent out to the client at no charge. So our system is going to allow up to 10 to be put on a quote at a time. And this enables people to actually, spend some more time with the fabric, have a bigger piece of it that they can tape up to the window, see what it looks like at morning, noon, and night. And, make sure that the various opacities that they've chosen are going to give them the privacy that they're looking for. I like to tell dealers that's a good thing to do. Have them get a copy of that, have them sign off on it, take a picture of it, save it on their file. Because these things are custom, and every once in a while you may deal with somebody that once they spend 30, 40 grand on their shades and they start getting hung up, they say, hey, that's not the fabric I chose, when in fact it probably is the fabric they chose. And the last thing the dealer wants is to be in a he said she said over a custom product that's so expensive. Now, indoor and outdoor shades, you just simply select which one you're trying to do. We'll do indoor shades. They're definitely our bread and butter. Now, you're going to fill this form out top to bottom, left to right. Don't leave anything blank. This first option is shade type, so manual or motorized. Then you're going to choose your header style, so the different sizes of fascia that are available, your different cassette options, and then the different open roll and the sizes that it's available in. So we'll do 3-inch fascia for now. It's pretty common. Then we're going to choose our motor type. So we have high voltage hardwired. We have low voltage internal battery, low voltage hardwired, PoE, and PoE2. So high voltage hardwired is exactly how it sounds. It's high voltage. An electrician needs to run the wire. It can be a plug-in at each window where you actually plug it in like a three-prong plug. Or the most common is we have a Molex connector that's on our pigtails, so that we would offer a whip that has the other side of that Molex connector and then just have that terminated in a box. Now, our internal batteries, an internal lithium ion battery that you'll charge roughly once every 600 cycles, simply by plugging in with a magnetic connection on the motor side. The battery shades do have the ability to be hardwired back to a 12-volt power supply as well. So our standard low voltage hardwired motor can accommodate a certain size shade based on its torque rating, roughly 10 foot by 10 foot. Now, if you get in a situation where you want to use low voltage wire for a larger shade than that, that's when you would hardwire our battery motors. And then we have low voltage is going to be a 12-volt hardwired motor that just runs back to a 12-volt power supply. We offer power supplies where they can source their own. We use just a CCTV power supply. Now our PoE and PoE2, kind of our bread and butter. And essentially I just direct everyone to use that Gen 2. That's the newest version of that motor that we released last year. It's quieter, it's smarter, it's our all-around best motor. Now, given that, it is our most expensive motor as well. We'll do battery for now. We have our different color options for the fascia, so you would select it. Then we have shade configurations. So we have coupled and single, and that's the only two configurations that are going to be available for the header style that we've chosen. Now, if they're wanting to do a dual, we come up here, we go to at least a 5-inch. 5-inch and 7-inch are used for duals, or open roll can accommodate dual. So whenever we change that to 5-inch, we get the dual option and the dual coupled option. So our portal doesn't let you build something we can't do. So if there's ever a situation where can't figure out how to get a certain configuration, it's probably because another selection needs to be changed. Now, whenever you're dealing with a dual, I'll do single first. Sorry. So we'll choose our mount type. First, we'll talk about is inside mount, and that is going inside the window jamb. So the measurement we're using is the end of the header to the end of the header. It's not the fabric dimension. It's the actual shade itself. So that's about 1.5 inches wider than the actual fabric panel. Just something to keep in mind there. There's about 3/4 of an inch on your edges that we call a light gap, where the fabric doesn't meet all the way to the edge. Now, whenever you do an inside mount, it's going to have this box that pops up, and it's telling you to measure to the closest 1/16 of an inch, but then do an 1/8 inch deduction. So down here in the width, if this thing was 36 inches, we would actually order it at 35 and 7/8. Now, this is the only mount type that we have you do a deduction. Only indoor inside mount. So outdoor shades, no deduction. Outside mounted shades, no deduction. So outside
Cody,
mount
all
is
these
going
yellow
outside the window
boxes
jamb.
are, oh, sorry.
Nope,
All these yellow
continue.
boxes are always there.
Yeah, they're going to pop up and kind of give you notifications. You can make them go away by clicking these little green things here.
Awesome. Okay.
Now, outside mount is outside the window jamb. And our width measurement is, again, like inside mount, where it's the whole header. It's not the fabric dimension, it's the whole header. Now, say you want to order the actual fabric dimension. We have fabric width. So this is still outside the window jamb, but now the width measurement we're using is the actual fabric panel itself. So again, there's 1.5 inch difference between this top header and how wide the actual fabric itself is. So just something to keep in mind there. So these could be ordered either way. However they measured it, that's how they want to order it. Then you're going to plug your height in inches. You're going to choose your fabric. So you can type in the name of a fabric and it'll narrow down your selections. When you're dealing with like light filtering and blackout, you'll see them abbreviated. Now, whenever you're dealing with solar fabrics that are offered in various opacities, it can be a little tricky. So Screen Essential is one of our solar fabrics. And you'll see it doesn't have the actual opacity. It says Screen Essential 3001 and then the color. And then 3003 and then the color. So until you memorize those, you need to refer back to the fabric book to see which one is which opacity. For this one, it's pretty easy. The 1 is 1%, the 3 is a 3%. But just something to keep in mind. You may need to refer back to the fabric book, when finding a fabric. We'll use a Palm Beach light filtering. You're always going to select your control side for every shade. That's the side the motor will be on. So if it's hardwired, that's your wiring side. If it's a battery shade, that's the side you'll charge on. You're going to choose your roll direction. So standard roll, industry standard, is coming off the back of the roll. That keeps the fabric closest to the glass and helps give you the best UV protection. Now, if there's a situation where you need to clear a window crank or a door handle, then that's when you would do a reverse roll or like a waterfall, and it comes off the front of the roll, like toilet paper should be hung. I swear they hang them backwards in hotels on purpose just to mess with people. Now, that let me pick standard and reverse roll because I'm on a 5-inch fascia. If I was on a smaller fascia, like a 3-inch, I wouldn't even have that option because it's not allowed. So it's just another good sign that our portal doesn't let you order anything we can't do. Now then here we're choosing our hem bar. So this is the bottom kind of weight of the fabric or the bottom treatment. We have the external metal hem bar, we have the oval hem bar, and then we have the internal hem bar. Over here on hem bar style, it's going to ask you if you want it magnetic or non-magnetic. So if the shade was being installed on like a French door that swings open, that'd be a case when you'd want to use the magnetic hem bar. It's going to have a piece that you screw to the door itself, and then it's going to have magnets installed in the hem bar. That's going to allow the shade material to magnetize in place, and when that door's opened, when the shade is down, the material is not flopping around. So most of the time, if you're not dealing with a door, you're just going non-magnetic. That can be a little tricky question for people sometimes, so we try to make it as clear as possible. Now, since I've chosen the internal hem bar, it allows me to do side channels. Now, if I had chosen a different hem bar, side channel option completely goes away. And that's because the internal is the only one that they actually fit in. Now we're doing a battery motor. So we have this question, LV power supply. And this is where you're determining if you're charging it with a wall charger or if you're going to hardwire the battery motor for those larger shade 12-volt situations. Choose the direction that the shade is facing. Set the floor that it's on. -1 would be a basement. Name your room. Name your shade. We have an MSRP right here, so we know this one's good. When we hit add shade, no errors. It is on the form for us. Excuse me. Now, one thing I want to point out whenever you're dealing with room names, this is going to be pretty important. You want to have these all kind of titled correctly. That's how they're all going to display in the dashboard when you're trying to set scenes and schedules. So, if you have a living room group or a bedroom A or whatever, it all kind of gets set when they're ordering the shades. So this speeds up their programming and their install time, since they're setting all this at the time of quoting, actually. Now over here, we have our different actions. This opens that form back up. This duplicates. So we can duplicate as many times as we want, hit duplicate, and then we're going to get that quantity added. Now we'll go back here. Say we want to do a dual shade. We would change this to dual, and now we get another selection for our front fabric and then our back fabric. Rule of thumb is that back fabric is typically the blackout. That keeps the blackout closest to the glass and allows for the best UV protection. Now, something to keep in mind, that's just typical. Most blackout fabrics have a white material on the back. So say they're dealing with an HOA or something like that, and the whole front of the home has to be black. That may be a situation where you want to revisit that. They might not want the blackout fabric at the back because then they'll have that white material showing. Little tips and tricks that just, you learn as you deal with shades a little bit. Coupled is whenever you're going to have multiple bands operated by one motor. So we can have up to 10 bands. So that actually looks like multiple shades, but it's all in one header, one bracket system, and one motor. So this allows you to cover a wider area than what a single piece of fabric could normally do. So you can go up to 10 panels or bands and up to 20 feet wide total. Just determine, your total size is just determined by whichever motor type you're choosing. It's going to be limited to its torque rating. Now we added those duplicates and they're locked. We actually can't change them. So if we want to change them, we click the unlock button individually, or we unlock all of them with this white padlock. Now over here, after they're unlocked, we can select them and put a check mark in there individually, or this little box right here will check all of them. At that point, we have this mass edit area. So you could change all of your fabrics. You could change all of your heights to match. You could even open up the order form and change all kinds of things. You could change your header, you could change your color. So that makes adjusting a whole quote pretty easy. You can delete individual shades. And then you can also see assembly data and shade data. So you can open this up and just kind of see some different things. What kind of fascia you've used, things like that. So now say this is all the shades we want to add to the quote. We could come right here to this verify config. And this is how we have your back that you don't have to remember all the individual accessories. So, you have that accessory list you can sort through. Or you can just use this verify config process and it's a lot easier. So this is going to recommend our remotes. So we add recommended connections. This here is recommending a gateway. So that's used for automation. So we can add that. Now, say this is an older couple that, doesn't have an automation system, doesn't care about app control. They just want remotes on the wall. They don't have to add the gateway. They can just click ignore and proceed right here. Now, since we added a gateway, it's going to recommend a repeater. Now a power block to plug the repeater into. And then now charging cables to charge our battery shades. Power blocks for the charging cables we just added. And then this would kind of be all the minimum accessories for this battery job that we've made. We get our pricing breakdown over here, accessories, shades, shipping. This is going to be per shade and per accessory. So that'll calculate there for you, then your subtotal. Any dealer that you guys are dealing with, their taxes are never going to be displayed there because the billing's done through you all and you guys are tax exempt. So taxes won't display here. And then this shows MSRP. Dealers can build this right in front of their client and it shows their cost, the client's cost, not the dealer's cost. Now, if they want to see their cost, they can come here to quote settings, quote display price. They'll be able to change this to my price. You guys will have the option to, see your distributor price like you see here. Change that, and then it's going to change these for you, and then also update your pricing down here at the bottom as well. There probably won't be any cases where your dealers are requesting to pick up their quotes. But if they don't want to have something shipped and they want to pick it up from us, they can choose that here in the quote settings. Now we have our demo program where people can, order shades for their showroom, their own homes, things like that for demo purposes. And that's a situation where the shades aren't being resold. And this is how you change it to a demo quote. So they just come in here to convert. I'll go ahead and convert this one. They'll convert it over to a demo. It's going to actually change PS to demo. It keeps the same order number, but it changes that to demo. And then it changes the place order button to demo review. So now they'll actually have to click this and they have to go through this declaration. It's basically saying it's for demo purposes. They're not going to resell them. And once they click this, it'll send me a notification that they've requested demo pricing. And then I'll be able to go in here and approve it. So once I do approve it, like I've just done, error there for some reason. Whenever they click demo review again, if this actually worked, they would be able to place the order right here.
So Cody,
yep.
With the demo order, when a dealer, let's say a dealer does that without us knowing, you get the notification. Is it something where Jacqueline would just give us a heads up, just like a normal order?
Yep. You guys literally don't have to worry about anything. Jacqueline's just gonna give you the PO just like a normal order with the whatever the updated demo pricing is. Yep. So nothing to worry about on your guys' side.
Seeing the demo model number, so I had to ask. So thank you.
Yep. Now, I didn't really point this out, but I just duplicated that last quote with this duplicate button. I don't know what option it gives a dealer or you guys. I think they just have the option for CEDIA right here. Like I'm allowed to duplicate into like an RMA and stuff, but so they can duplicate a quote and then it's just going to give an exact copy of the quote. Let's unlock it. It's going to title it copy. So from here, you could change this to like, maybe manual and then have a motorized option and then use that mass edit, to change these. And then you have two versions of the quote and you can very easily quote whatever you're trying to. Now, export quote, we'll download it to Excel. And this is just like a tool that once guys are experienced, once you guys are experienced, you can kind of check things over and make sure everything looks right before the order's placed. So like this is something I do if someone, gives me a heads up that they're about to place an order, I'll export it and kind of look at these things. Now, based off room name, they're going to be color coded. So since these are all in the same room, test room, they're all the same color. If we had done test room 1, test room 2, these would color code based off those rooms. Now it's going to give us our type, motorized, our configuration. So whether it's a dual or a coupled or a single, fabric, outside fabric, if it was a dual, would be listed right there. Our dimensions, mount type. So these are types of things I like to bring up to people, especially a new guy. I'll say, all right, looks like you have them all outside mount. Was that intentional? Or maybe there might be a random one in here mixed in that was inside mount. And I'll say, well, it looks like you have them all outside mount, but one of them was inside mount. Was that intentional? And then, sometimes, oh man, no, thank you, or something like that, or hey, one of your headers is 3 inch and the rest are 5 inch. Is that in the same room? Is that on the same wall? Is that gonna, stick out like a sore thumb? Do we need to make all those match? These are things that this export quote really lets you see. So as we scroll over, we can see our hem bar, bracket color, what motors are being used, um, all kinds of different stuff like that. Control side. So that's an important one. Say somebody created one shade, then duplicated the rest of the home off of that one, but maybe they didn't wire it uniformly like that. Maybe it's mix and matched. Well, this could be an absolute nightmare for them. They get all the shades, they're all on the left side, and 20 of them, the motor's actually on the right side. Now they have to take all those shades apart in the field and pull those motors out and put them in the other side. So they're just these are types of things that it's really worth looking over and making sure you pay special attention to before the order gets placed, because it's going to be the difference in a shade job installing, kind of normal and easy or a nightmare. Um, when they go through this place order, oh, it won't let me because there's no property address. Hold on, just pick one. So whenever put a dealer on here, someone's going to see this in their account over at Adapted Tech and wonder what the hell's going on. So we hit place order right here. It's going to give them a breakdown of what they're ordering, their total, and then this is where they can put in a coupon code. So, our new program for the fabric book and hardware kit, for example, is when those things ship, I'm emailing out a 3 coupon codes, one for the fabric book, 2 for the hardware kit. And they have a year to use those coupon codes. They can use one per order. It's a $2.99 off coupon code, and it can be used on any order over $1,000. This would be where they would input that coupon code. Then they would hit apply, and it would show their discount right here. We can verify shipping address right here, and then they hit next. Now, all of your dealers are going to have pay with dealer terms right here. So they'll click that, and then it's going to ask for a PO. They leave the PO blank, and then Jacqueline emails you guys, and you provide us with the PO. So if you ever need to explain that process, that's how that works. Keystrokes save automatically. So I just hit home, go back to the home page. That quote saves right there. And it's actually under adapted text stuff now. And that can be referenced by anybody. We can hit that to open the quote back up. We can go over here and view the quote here, or we can archive the quote, which is essentially deleting it. So we'll do that. Now, if a dealer accidentally archives a quote that they didn't mean to, our engineering department can get that thing back out of the depths. So, a quote number helps if hopefully, maybe they had it downloaded before or something. Or if they don't have a quote number and they just have a title or something like that, we can still find it. So they're not gone forever. Anybody have any questions? I don't really know what else we could cover on this specific quoting training. So I'll open it up to questions now.
I think, you do a really good
Dang,
job of
dude.
hitting everything. Um,
Cool, cool. You guys
you
better
know,
be
I,
pros then. I'm just kidding.
yeah, don't call with any questions, right? Um, so, so no, this is actually very helpful, especially for, our inside guys who had kind of been like, not kind of, been very, hands off with the design process. This, again, um, I expect us to be able to use this to get newer dealers more comfortable. Sometimes, um, dealers are very, very comfortable talking to us, and they just have us on
Hmm.
speed dial. So if we know a little bit more
Hmm.
about this, it can get them dangerous. Then
Yep.
we'll just hit you on things that we have questions on, quirky things, or design situations or whatever. But
Every little bit
again,
helps. Some of these dealers and every one of them is a little bit different, but some of them are so damn busy. They might not have time to get it in there. And if, one of you guys, I'm not saying you need to build all their quotes for them, but if there's ever a situation where you can get it in for them quickly and help them out, it just speeds everything up and it shows tremendously to those guys. So it definitely
yeah, it's
helps.
all about service. And guys, the only thing I want to be like super super clear and cautious about are the measurements. You know, um, we
Yeah.
have to be extremely cautious how we're doing things and what we're doing. If it gets to the point where a dealer wants to place an order and you've done a template with them, and it's showtime with this, um, get with me, get with Cody, make sure that we'll get in the groove of things, but we need to make sure that we're getting these, making sure that these measurements are accurate and that they fully
Yeah.
understand what they're doing. And that's going to be the biggest um, thing we need to pay attention to during this, as much as we get into this. So
Yeah, if you're actually putting the measurements in for them, do that export quote like I showed you, have them look that over because that's going to show mount type, and, control side, the measurement. So download that Excel file, send it over to them, make them sign off on it because you don't want them putting that back off on you. And then another good rule of thumb, I don't know how you guys handle things, but, I really try not to actually place an order for a dealer. I mean, I will if I
right,
actually absolutely need to, but I really try not to actually be the one that hits place order for the dealer.
that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought that up. We've kind of like we do with certain projector screens and things like that. When we draw up a drawing or quote, the dealer can see it, email us okay, or sign off on it, but we're actually placing the order. But Cody's right. We'll export that to them, and then really encourage them to place it themselves. Again, the last thing we want to do is prove that we're right and a dealer's wrong, because that's already a bad situation,
Right,
right?
right.
But but that's not the point. It's just to make sure that the dealer understands the severity, sees that dollar sign, and make sure themselves that they're on point with this. So
Yep.
okay, I
Oh,
think we
cool.
might be good, Cody.
Good. So you guys will edit this and put it on YouTube. I think that'll be really helpful. I saw that in the answers there. So yeah, that'll be good.
Yep, yep. All right. Well,
All
thanks,
right,
Cody.
guys.
I appreciate your
Yeah.
time,
If
and
we ever need to hop on any other ones or tailor any others towards anything else, let me know. I'd love to.
sounds good. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.